Hi, hello. Um, Welcome back to our talks.
Welcome back. It's been a while.
It's been a while. We haven't done this for a while, but due to so much demand, um, we thought we should find time to continue to do this. I think it's very important for people, obviously. So that's why we are going to do it.
Okay, so what are we going to discuss today, Angela?
A few things. I think we're gonna mainly talk about stroke. Strokes. That's a subject that is very close to me. Uh, Recently, my dad had a stroke, and it left him a little bit, not a little bit. It left him disabled. Um, and That's been a challenge, and it got me to learn a lot about what happens in the body when someone has a stroke. And so that's what we're going to talk about today, and just probably um, get to let people know
Yeah,
how.
discuss a few points, talk about what it is, talk about what you can do about it, how do you prevent it,
Yeah,
all that kind of thing. And we'll focus always on nutrition and a bit of nutrition because
yeah,
that's
yeah,
really important in
yeah.
this topic.
So what happens when someone is having a stroke? What's happening in the body?
Well, there's a few different types of strokes that you can have. It's not one thing, but what it basically is some form of damage in the brain. And this can be from ischemia, which basically means an ischemic stroke is a lack of oxygen to the brain, and this happens when blood vessels close up, and that can be a cholesterol thing, or it can be a blockage from whatever that's floating around and blocked up those blood vessels,
Yeah,
and then you have lack of oxygen and blood flow going to the brain, and that can cause a stroke.
yeah,
And there's another kind of stroke called a hemorrhagic stroke.
yeah,
That is about bleeding. So that is again when blood vessels burst and you've got abnormal bleeding in the brain, and that can be from a few different reasons. Again, it can be about cholesterol. It can be about inflamed arteries that weaken and then burst, and then you have blood flowing into the brain where it's not supposed to be, and that's not good because that causes cellular damage, and then you basically have brain damage. So you see either one side of the brain affected or the other side, and the right side of the brain controls the left side of the body, and the left side of the brain controls the right side of the body. So that's quite often why if you have a stroke on your left side,
yeah,
you will lose function in your right hand, right leg. And the opposite is also true. A stroke on the right hand side means that you lose function on the left side.
yeah.
Yep.
Okay. Yeah, it's quite a um, sad situation that they said that it leaves a person with quite a dysfunctional parts of the body. What are the causes? Some of the causes, like you're saying, this high blood pressure.
High blood pressure can be one of them because that puts pressure on your arterial system, and then if you have that burst, one of your arteries burst, then you're going to have bleeding into the brain, and
Yeah,
then that's going to not be good, obviously, and that will cause brain damage.
yeah,
And that's one aspect of what a stroke can be. So there is a few different reasons. My brother also had multiple strokes, and that was partly what ended his life when he was 36. So that's diet is a big factor in this, and diet is what raises cholesterol levels
Okay.
and what causes inflammation.
All right.
So that is a real big one because refined carbohydrates and things that break down into sugar will increase inflammation in the
So
body.
just before you talk about that, I had an issue I think with my dad. What happened is he was supposed to be on high blood pressure.
Blood pressure lowering medication.
Yeah, medication, and then he decided that he was fine and he didn't need them.
Yep, it's a real concern. So if you are supposed to be on blood pressure medication, then you need to make sure that you take that because a doctor's prescribed that for a reason, and that reason is to get your blood pressure down.
Yeah.
Because that's going to take the pressure off your arterial systems.
Yeah.
And I've had several patients, even this week, who didn't want to take blood pressure medication.
Yeah.
They've fought a lot, and when they come into me and I've taken their blood pressure and seen that it's incredibly elevated, it doesn't matter that I practice natural medicine. I have to tell them, you need to go and see a GP and you need to get medicated. You need to be taken out of the danger zone.
It happens important. A lot with elderly people. Some elderly people, you know, they're like, oh well, I'm fit. But you just need to listen to. Otherwise, the results.
The result can be disastrous. That's the problem.
Disastrous.
Yep. And there's always a reason. So as you get older, your organs stop functioning as well. So my plan with these people is to get them on blood pressure medication, drop their blood pressure because these things work very quickly, Western drugs. And if they want the support of natural medicine, I'm there to do that. Blood pressure medication is not going to be a good long-term strategy because you're never going to get to the cause of why you have that in the first place. And that's what most people want to fix, not just put a band-aid over it and go, okay, take a blood pressure reducing drug. Yeah. Because you're not fixing anything there. You're just managing that symptom. So you can do both, though. You can definitely
besides
do both.
High blood pressure, you know, there's things like high cholesterol, high diabetes, all those kind of symptoms. They can actually lead to some people having a stroke. How does that happen?
Well, cholesterol is going to block off arteries, and that can be a problem, particularly if it lines in the arterial wall and starts to narrow it. So that's, you know, the arterious space, the lumen, the fancy name for the passageway where the blood runs down is called the lumen, and that gets smaller if you've got cholesterol building up on the inside. Now that actually isn't what happens. No, this is the medical, this is what is touted in medicine, but I have a different opinion. So yes, that does happen, but why is your body putting cholesterol there? Yes. Why is that? The reason why is because you have inflammation in your arterial system. So your arteries are inflamed and your body is putting cholesterol there to try and make the arteries stronger because inflamed arteries are very weak. So that's the reason that your body's actually putting that there. So take a step back again and go, well, actually the body never does something for no reason. There's always a reason as to why your body's going to try and do that. Yeah. Because your body's always trying to heal itself. It's got a very strong self-healing mechanism.
So how do you reduce things like obviously cholesterol, diabetes, high blood pressure, so you can actually, you know, be in that...
prevent it.
Yeah, prevent strokes.
It's the same protocol.
You know what I read today? There's and 85% of strokes that happen can be prevented.
I would agree with that.
85%.
I think so. It may be higher than that, actually.
Exactly.
Because it is so much dietary influence, and people don't understand that and don't take it seriously. So diet rules everything. And if you have a diet that is high in sugar, so if I'm treating a patient for diabetes or high blood pressure or high cholesterol, or another condition called hyperlipidemia, which basically is a lot of fat in your blood. Liver. Fatty liver, same principle, same dietary intervention. You cut down your carbohydrates because these are things that break down into sugar, and any kind of refined sugars are going to make your blood sticky and they're going to increase your cholesterol levels and they're going to increase your inflammation.
So these are things like, you know, white flour, white rice, potatoes,
white potatoes,
you know, all those kind of things that are really, really, and they might be, you know, everyday foods that we are used to. But if someone is going through that stage where they are sick with cholesterol, do you actually also need to change that diet?
Absolutely, you do. You need to get the liver working better, and you need to stop their liver from making so much cholesterol. And you do that by controlling the diet or influencing the diet. And I always hear people talk about, well, you know, high cholesterol's in my family. My dad had it, my grandma had it, and my father, and so on and so forth. And they just think, well, they're a victim of circumstance and there's nothing you can do. That is not the truth. That is absolutely not the truth. So it may mean that you're quite good at making cholesterol, but it also means that it's even more important then that you do the right things dietary-wise to make sure that you're not going to make excessive cholesterol and then have a problem.
Yeah, so reversing those genes that you probably carry.
well, not so much reversing, but not turning them on. The thing that turns genes on is food. The thing that switches genes off is also food. So making the right dietary choices is super important. So just because cholesterol runs in your family, it doesn't mean that you're going to have very high cholesterol. but it will if you're much more likely to if you eat the wrong things and you turn those genes on
Okay.
and you tell your liver to make lots of cholesterol.
Okay.
And you do that by the diet.
So I think that's very important for people to know, because some people say, oh, in our family, we all have high blood pressure, or we all have diabetes,
Yep.
so we're gonna have that. So it's about turning those genes
Switching
on.
those genes off. Exactly, right? And the reason that you see that is because parents and children tend to eat the same sort of thing.
Yeah.
Like it was
Yeah.
taught by the grandparents or whatever.
Yeah.
They have the same sort of diet, and that diet is switching all those genes on, and therefore, they're
But if it's
susceptible.
the wrong food, you have to stop eating it.
It's
It
the wrong
doesn't
food.
matter.
You need to make adjustments, definitely.
Yeah.
Yes. And you need to also do a bit of fasting. That might be a whole nother video.
Well, it's the same thing as
but
my dad was
it's
saying. Oh, I've always eaten sadza. What can we eat? If we eat sadza, that's what we eat. But then you really have to, because it's all sugar, you really have to cut down on those sugars. And
You
then,
do,
yeah.
you do, and you also have to increase your dietary fat. That's super important. Increasing your dietary fat,
Clean fats?
healthy fats. So people have the wrong idea about fats, and eating fat does not raise cholesterol. It doesn't increase body weight. It doesn't block arteries. It doesn't do any of that stuff.
A topic for another day.
It is almost,
Well-
it definitely is, but it's an important one. So,
Yeah.
and this is the secret for people to get their cholesterol levels right, or their blood pressure right, or
Yeah.
their fatty liver right,
Yeah.
or whatever.
Yeah.
I'm always going to increase people's dietary fat of healthy fats,
Yeah, healthy
because
fats.
it's super, super important. So you do that, you cut down the refined carbohydrates, you learn a little bit about fasting. Hey presto, you're off and
Okay.
running.
All right, thank you guys for watching today. I think our next topic, obviously from it's going to be a series. I think we're going to talk about a lot about healthy fats.
We might have to. Yeah, that's a hot
how
one at the
that
moment.
contributes to
Sure.
all,
Yep.
the cooking that we do on our everyday, which might be causing lots of problems. So thank you guys for watching.
Hope that helps. Thanks, guys.
See you guys soon.
Bye.
Bye.